tubiest of the tubiest, the best YouTube subscribers on the planet. That's you. And I'm 50 plus, and today I'm going to start a little mini series of this week for this week. Okay, I'm going to do 3 videos on the same topic. Okay, and I'm hoping with this video is to encourage some of my fellow Melton brothers to come out and do some training, just like I do, become a mentor. And why is that so important? First off, there's a lot of guys waiting to get into this, into our company and do what we do. And they need guys like myself. They need you to step up. There's only so many of guys like me right now. We don't have a lot of trainers, but we have a lot of guys wanting to come aboard, wanting to get their career started. However, not a lot of drivers are wanting to step up. And so I'm hoping today that I can dispel some of the myths that you may think happens because so many people do this. They just sit there peeing in your ear, telling you a bunch of crazy. I mean, it's truck driver talk. That's just it, man. It is what it is. Okay, I don't hold my tongue. I'm just gonna say it. Okay, it's a bunch of bull and it's talked and spread it by truck drivers. They believe that. Well, let's just talk about a few things that's myths. It's just not true, and I may have had a preconceived notion that it could have been that way as well, but I know that it couldn't be all the way true because when I went through training, it wasn't as these myths are. So I just didn't believe it. First thing is, the truck is too small for 2 people in there. I'm not going to be comfortable with sharing my space with someone else. Well, are you really? Are you really sharing that space with someone else? Listen, you are. I will grant that you are, but you're not sharing your space. I mean, think about it. I'm going to be very literal, but it's the truth if you actually just think about it. Okay. A space that you occupy, the 3-foot, 3.5-foot square that you occupy, is physically occupied. If you think about it, you're in that space all the time, and no one's in that space but you. So that's what I'm trying to get you to see is, let's say you're sitting in the passenger seat or sitting in the driver's seat, and you're concerned that someone else is on the truck is going to be invading your space. Your space is that 3.5, even 4-foot little spot right there, the square, and they're not in that. Okay, and the chances of someone, I mean, it's not like you're going to be, touching shoulders and, running around. It's not like that. That spot in that seat that you're sitting in, you occupy that area. You can't occupy that area and another area at the same time. I'm just trying to get you to think about things a little bit different, okay? They're not in your space. That's just a myth that people want you to think that way. So they paint this picture for you of this person sitting in your lap. And that's just not true at all. You're going to have plenty of space. If you're sleeping on the bottom bunk, you can't possibly sleep on the top bunk at the same time, okay? You're not occupying the same space, okay? It's not what you think. And if you just be logical about it, you'll know that what I'm telling you is true. You don't have to have that issue. Now, what will happen, and this is number 2, what will happen with space is the space outside of what you occupy, you are sharing that space. Okay, so that it does the space in that driver's seat, you're a student occupying that space, and then the space in that you're sitting in the passenger seat, those are your space, and while you're driving the road, the body's in your space. Okay, but refrigerator. Let's just use that as an example. You're gonna that is invaded space, okay? Because you put whatever you want in your refrigerator, and it's just yours. You can put whatever you want in there, and you can stuff it full of your stuff. However, when you have a student, you're gonna share the refrigerator space, okay? And yeah, that can get you. It does take some getting used to. And I actually have a separate cooler as well. It's a drink fridge, and we put all the drinks and stuff in that, and food go in the actual built-in refrigerator, so we can kind of do things to make it work. Your closet space, you're not sharing that. Microwave, you're sharing the microwave. Whatever little things you may have. Your student's going to bring snacks and their goodies. It's on the top shelf, in the top bunk, so it's not in your way. Shoes. Sometimes shoes can be. I know. I am telling you the things that occupy space that might irritate you. Okay, there are some things. Okay, and shoes is one, man. Because you think about it, you take your shoes off, and if you take your shoes, you take them off, and you put the shoes that you're wearing in front of the passenger seat, and that your driver, the student, take his and put it in front of the driver's seat, they're out of the walkway as you're maneuvering in the truck. Okay, so that sort of stuff, you start to develop ways to make it work, and that space all of a sudden becomes bigger than you think it is. Okay, yeah, or some guys just keep a bunch of stuff on their truck, and it's just difficult for even one person to be in it. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is there two living environments in that truck, and it is, but you have to create them, and don't let somebody get in your head and tell you that there's no, that your space in that truck is gonna be occupied by someone else, and that's just not true. Okay, so yeah, the one myth busted that there is a lot of space in there, and it's space enough. Teens drive trucks all the time, so that's just not true. Okay, and the second point is, yes, there are spaces that you're gonna have to share, some shared spaces. Not it isn't your space being occupied by someone else, but there are shared spaces. Okay, and make that work. It's not a problem. Okay. Another one is I don't want to trust someone else to drive me around. How one-sided is that? Isn't that just the most ridiculous? Listen to that. I don't trust someone else to drive me around. Think about that for a minute. What's going to happen? You're going to have a wreck? You think that's going to happen? How many wrecks as drivers? Okay, as drivers, how many accidents do we see daily? And for those who are not drivers, I said daily. That is a correct statement, because as a driver, as a truck driver, you're going to see accidents every day, multiple of them every day. Okay, so my point is, you worried about the person that's sitting in arm's reach from you, controls that are in arm's reach from you. You don't want them. You think they're going to be a problem, but you can actually reach over and grab the steering wheel, or squeeze the trailer brakes, or throw the thing out of gear, whatever. You can react to them, but you cannot react to all of that stuff that's going on around you, and you drive with them every day. How are you going to say that you're worried about the person that's sitting right next to you when you can have some control over that? you may as well just stop driving. If you think that that point is valid, you may as well get off the road, man. You may as well stay in your house because nothing outside of your control. You worry about it? No, you don't. No, you don't. That's just someone that got in your head. You know that that doesn't make any sense. Squash that. Myth busted. That's just not true, okay? Think about, um, the reward that is much greater than the craziness that you hear, okay? Um, I don't know that I'm going to mesh well with my student. I don't know if we're going to get along. We're going to be fussing and fighting in a truck. I can tell you that the recruiting department do a pretty damn good job at meshing um, students and mentors. You do a very good job at that. Is it perfect? Nothing's perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Nothing's perfect. If you believe it, then there was only one perfect thing, and it was hung on a cross and crucified. Outside of that, nothing's perfect. Okay, so we just all keep going on from day to day. But just keep in mind, you're not perfect, and somebody helped you become a driver. What makes you not think that you couldn't help someone else? The reward is much greater than you might think. Just think about this for a second. What about your son who wants to be a driver as well? You're working for a damn good company, but you can't train him. That's company policy. He can't be in the truck with you. You can't train him. He can be in the truck with you after he's done training. He's actually hired. He's driving. Now you two can team together, but you can't train your son. Don't you want someone to step up and take care of him? Come on, man. Let's do it. I want you guys to kind of think about some stuff. And as I make these videos this week, put down below, comment down below some things that worry you about stepping up and helping the next guy. Okay? And let's talk about it. I just mentioned a few things, but I hear those things constantly. It's too small in that truck, and I'm scared the person that I'm training is gonna wreck out, or just things that are common myths that just aren't true. And the one story that you hear that was disastrous, there's thousands and thousands of drivers riding around the roads right now that did not happen to. This never happened to me. I've never had a student get on my truck, and I've had them get on my truck and freak out and just stay frozen in the middle of the road. I'm like going, dude, we gotta go. You can't stop on a exit ramp. Or actually, it was an entrance ramp to an interstate, and cars were coming, and he was going down the ramp and just stopped. He actually stopped that truck on an on-ramp, and he was shaking. I'm like, dude, what's up? We cannot. We're gonna kill somebody. We can't sit here. And then I just started to work with him, and he softened him up a little bit. He started rolling, and then I had to kind of encourage him a little more. But you work through those things, okay? There was only that one time, and we talked about it, and he got over that. His anxiety, man. He just thought he was going to pull out into the interstate and get hit. So, but that's all on you, man. The things that you can do to kind of motivate that person to keep going. But dangerous and freaky things, they can happen to any of us at any time, anywhere, in our personal vehicles or in our commercial motor vehicles. So we can't let things just get in our way. Okay? Let's think about, I want you guys to think about stepping up and helping someone else. Did you know that in the training program, I pick up a student, finish that student, and when he's done, that same day, another one gets on, and I keep going. I'm never without a student because there's always somebody waiting, you know. However, if you decide that you want to be a trainer, you don't have to train every single week, back to every single person, like back to back to back to back to back for folks. You don't have to do that. If you took 4 students a year, just 1 student per quarter, if everybody eligible that's not training right now join the training crew and just did 1 every quarter, just to some, you'd be surprised at the huge difference it would make in so many people's life. But I bet you can't do just 4. I promise you, you can't do 4 a year. You just can't. You can't, man, because every time you get on there, you meet a new friend, bro. You're gonna enjoy it, unless you're a recluse, you know. Hey, sometimes what's good for the goose ain't good for the gander. You may not like it, but I encourage you to at least give it a try. Again, if there's some things that bother you, I would really like to know what bothers you guys, what's stopping you guys from stepping up and becoming mentors. It's 3 weeks out of your life that can make a total shift in someone else's for the rest of their lives. Think about that. You can spend 3 weeks with someone and give them a career for the rest of their life. Makes me feel pretty damn good. I bet it will for you too. You got any other reasons why you can't do this? Put them down there. Let's talk about it. And I'll answer those in the next video. Till I see you again, deliver undistracted. Here's your boop.